Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Lion's Den Show. And here's your host, Cody Robert Judy.
Hello and welcome to the Lion's Den Show. I'm your host and your toast, Cody Robert Judy. Today is December 7th, 2010, and we are going to continue our discussion on presidential candidates for 2012 as we begin yesterday. That discussion can be joined at Patriots For America also, and here's that discussion on the website for you. This has been a great discussion. First, let me say I am very happy to rub shoulders with those who love America, love defending the Constitution, which is the tie that binds us, our states, that binds our states in the United States of America. In my prayers at night, I ask God to bless you, to bless America, and to somehow uphold our U.S. Constitution. Personally, I know we're headed for some very dark times, but those times will be necessary to get the light. Of course, I think of Patriots of America now as perhaps living at the bottom of a coal mine that had us trapped with the explosion overhead with the socialist and Marxist agenda, meant literally to suck the air out from whence we breathe, killing us all, killing all the patriots of the United States. Thank you for your kind comments on the last post. There's not a bunch of patriots I'd rather be trapped down here with. Some discussions pertinent on where exactly we're headed and perhaps grasp what we should do. Mr. Arnie Rosner wrote well when he wrote, "We have some unfinished business, and that is Obama's eligibility." And Mrs. Twana Blevins wrote well also, saying, "There were many issues to focus on, and that Obama is not the only one in the socialist Marxist swamp." This is precisely what Mr. Paul Powell said is so true. We need to do this before our country is turned over to the UN for burial or worse. I think that Mr. Harry Riley asked about a third-party candidate, and that answer is the affirmative. I do believe there are enough Democrats who will swing from the tree and enough Republicans who have begun to question the UN's intervention in their own party enough to swing. We must not forget that party power was installed by we the people, and we can move it. Here's a campaign ad I had ran for U.S. Senate this year that detailed the party power and the deception of it. Moving quickly is a good idea here in the discussions and contemplations. Now, I'd like to just throw something out there for thought. We are about 5,000 members at Patriots For America, and I believe scattered across the United States, but unified in a thought, the constitutional crisis that we face. I did not hear really any opposition to my post about Obama and McCain's eligibility. The writing on the wall very strongly suggests a couple of obvious things. People like popularity and the factor of it, candidates, as far as the candidates are concerned, and they wish for more principle. And they hope that these politicians who are popular muster a patriot bone in their body and do the right thing. Don't deceive yourself. Any politician who has not opposed Obama's eligibility when it is out there in the mainstream as it is, doesn't have the salt to do what it takes to lead this nation. The biggest concern for, shall I call us the common folks, is that we can't win as a third party because of fear that we won't get enough Democrats or Republicans to cross over. I say to that, I still believe in the breadbasket of the United States, and I believe that that consists of United States citizens who count that citizenship higher on the totem pole than their political party. Getting to my point, many people have faulted Palin for being under the China or Soros thumb. It stands to reason that money follows the popularity as a good investment. This is and of itself should tell us the people power is the money penny, as James Bond 007 would say, and every cent of it. So often third parties have to get off to a late start, and it's been an Achilles heel for them. I know that before Ross Perot pulled out over threats to his family, he was on one heck of a strong train ride. He had money, but lacked spine, and Americans saw it, exposed and wavered at the hands on those reins. Before you pick a candidate, you do have to ask yourself a serious question. Is that person who is going to have to disrupt the establishment and refocus that money train, which can be done simply on a popularity rush, is that person, or are they going to be able to go the distance? Are they willing to sacrifice their family and themselves? That takes most of the people being considered in this discussion out of the equation. You talk about Americans not caring. Well, it's a well-known fact that's the same pool of which we have been choosing our politicians for a very long time. I know in my heart that if we have a fearless leader willing to stand up against Obama's eligibility, that there are people in power who will follow that lead. Senator Michelle Bachmann, even Sarah Palin would suit up if the people pick someone with enough balls to take Obama on in his eligibility. The real secret here is really not a secret. I firmly believe if a group of patriots like this get together and firmly planted roots down for a candidate for president who was principled enough to take on the eligibility issue and stand with the Constitution, someone who didn't hesitate filing against McCain and Obama. I testified as a presidential candidate in 2008, was standing against Obama in the CIA Columbia Obama trial, and those transcripts are available. There are patriots all across America who have thanked me for that courage and realized that I did not do it on a racial issue, but I did it on a constitutional issue. And that proof is that I first sued John McCain for not being eligible. I didn't run for president in 2008 because anyone asked me to. I did it because no one else was standing up for our Constitution. And I was the only presidential candidate in the country who stood up for our Constitution in the simple forms of the qualifications for our president. Everyone else let Obama and McCain slide by, and in doing so sloughed off the Constitution. We the people create popularity, and money follows it. And I know that we the people can be very competitive with the Democrat and Republican establishments who have forgotten that the popularity as president should never sacrifice the principles of the Constitution. The air is ripe with disgust for both parties, far more than it was when Ross Perot ran. One thing everyone would know, I didn't support taking Obama and McCain to task on eligibility because it was popular, but because it was the right thing to do to defend the Constitution. You know, if it wasn't me, if it would have been someone else who had actually stood up against Obama and McCain and put anything down on paper about it in a court of law, I'd sleep a whole lot better knowing there was a real guard standing at the front gate of the White House with the Constitution in mind when the UN decided to make their move on the United States. We all know president is only one man. And while he is president, it surely takes many patriots around him who are willing to work the details. I also recall Roosevelt standing out of his wheelchair at men sitting around the table who could stand, saying, "We couldn't strike at the heart of Japan." Real courage is rare, and can anyone think of a time we need it more than we do right now? Or remember a time when it was needed and it was so damn rare with these politicians? The actions I've taken in the past are more than words. They are deeds that actually form a security and an insulation on everyone's support and protection of money invested. How many politicians live and die on polls and decide to curtail their positions around them? Case in point, McCain in his last re-election. Anyone remember, okay, I'll get the post for the border fence. You bet. This is the language of politicians you're picking in this discussion. They will do what's popular. And if the Constitution isn't popular, well, too bad, so sad. But if you make the Constitution popular by supporting me as president, by God, you watch the Democrats forget Obama. You watch the Republicans challenge him in the House. And you watch as we, the people, take our country back. That is where all the politicians are right now. And short of someone coming in from the outside who actually makes the Constitution popular, who leads the country in a constitutional direction by something more than empty, promising words and a little or no action, where do you suppose we'll end up? Now, many citizens don't get involved in politics until the last minute, but I'd like to think we're dealing with, here at Patriots For America, with the cream that has risen to the top when it comes to patriotism. I firmly believe if a group like this picks someone out of the political arena for a change, who has been in this fight since the beginning, that is not only something to get behind, but it is worthy from the beginning, and it's able and willing to go the distance. When this happens, here's what will happen. You'll make a demand for our Constitution to be righteously protected. All the other candidates will see the reason that I have been chosen, and I will send a very clear message to Washington, D.C., and politicians across the United States will start shaping up. It starts right here, right now, with you and me. Our forefathers didn't make the qualifications for U.S. president educational or scholastic, or for that matter, corporate. Or in other words, you don't have to be a U.S. senator or a member of the House. You only have to be a natural-born citizen and 35 years or older, and I am qualified to be the president of the United States. It's really astonishing to me that Obama and McCain failed these simple qualifications and became party nominees with the corporate ladder as a silent qualification, over and above the ones listed in the Constitution itself. What can you do now? If you see this, spread it to everyone you know, and we will tell America and our Constitution is more than just a show. I'm Cody Robert Judy, and I'm running for President of the Republic for which we stand, the Constitution of these United States, and I'm more qualified to be President than Mr. Barack Hussein Obama.